Celebrate Me, CMW, Celebrate Me Week. As I talk to the kids every year, the very first talk that we have, I talk about what does Celebrate Me Week mean? And I say, celebrate. What's that mean? Party. Me, we'll talk about that later tonight. Week, a whole week, a week-long party that's focused on you. That goes back to St. Teresa's Catholic Church, where we had these young kids, grades kindergarten through sixth grade, every morning, every day for 3 weeks, I think it was. And it was amazing to us what we could, because we had them for that length of time, create an environment that facilitated teachable moments. And so when we looked at what we had done with K through 6, and now these kids were going into 7th grade, and my daughter was one of them, we thought, what could we do if you had them just 24/7 for 1 week? It'd be a lot more hours, and you would be able to create those teachable moments.
No, the fun part of the story now, I get to interject.
Yes, do that.
Is that a couple weeks before we were supposed to head over to Frontenac for camp, we were talking and you said, well, this came up, blah, blah, blah. So what did you do when you went to camp? And I said, what did you do when you went to camp? He goes, well, I'm Methodist. I never went to camp. I said, I never went to camp.
And that's kind of why Celebrate Me Week is the way it is, because it's not like any other camp.
That's right.
Because we didn't know what camps were supposed to be. So
blank slate.
yes. And we found a facility,
Retreat.
Villa Maria, Frontenac on a river, and a person, Sister Chabanel, who ran the Villa Maria, who said, you don't need a curriculum, you need a person. And I have just a person, Beverly Hickman, who came, and she's the one who we stole all of her material. We stole her slogans.
She offered it to us.
I am free to be me, and I'm going to be the best me that I can be. And we're still doing the same things that she taught us and told us and shared with us, and some of the same songs.
Yes.
But all of those things have been fine-tuned and expanded where they needed to be, cut where they didn't need to be. But it's the new eyes looking at it, and the new ears, and the new people experiencing it, knowing, well, this would work better.
I checked with Camp Patterson, and they just said to me, we have not had an opening in 9 years. We're sorry. And the next year, guess what?
Yeah.
What had the opening?
And a few years after that, guess what?
2003, we went from 1 week to 2 camps.
Back to back. That's
And
a God
then,
thing.
In 2011, we went from 2 camps to 3 camps. Each one of those times, the reason we even consider was because it was so heartbreaking to have these huge waiting lists for kids who were never going to get to come to camp. We did make a commitment, the 3 of us.
For 5 years.
We do it for 5 years, and we
That
knew
was your commitments.
Well, we knew we'd have to
I didn't.
work. We would have to be working on, put work into it and effort into it for 5 years to see if it could grow.
Right?
But we knew if it was a feasible thing that someone would come and take it.
They had so many ideas between the 2 of them that there was no way they were going to get them all done.
We were looking forward to someone picking it up, and what we were beginning to see once our eyes, once we could let go of who's not picking it up, we could see that it's every
ours.
one of those campers. It is picked up because it goes out into every
Exactly
workplace.
what I believe, that indeed
Yes.
someone did take it over and pick it up, and it is the staff. It is
Yeah.
the people who came to work it and saw so much bigger than we saw. Those first few years, trying to convince people to send their kids to camp and trying to convince people to come and work camp. We had the numbers, but it was always kind of like a lot of effort trying to recruit and get the word out.
But we love talking about it.
Yep, that's true. 10 years later, 1998, waiting lists. We had the policy that once you're 16, you can come back and work. So by that time, 10 years, we had waiting lists for campers because of brothers and sisters of campers who had gone before, and waiting lists for staff.
I think another growth point we experienced, Doug, was when your father was very, very ill. And there was a point where it came, you said, I don't know if camp will happen this year because of the things going on at home. I just don't know if it can happen. And I remember saying to you, we can make a choice if we can come, but camp is beyond us now. And Anne and Connie Lotta and the strength of staff, like you had commented earlier, the staff, I could choose if I could come or not, but the vision of that became bigger than just the three of us.
That's very true. Every single staff makes that so unique to them and to their staff and to their campers that it, even though it's 25 years, and I think I counted up, this year will be 39 camps. Not a single one was the same.
This is my 1989 version because on the top I wrote, because in 1989 I was doing some reflection, and so I marked it. I was so excited. I read this verse and I came on August 9th of 1989. I read the scripture, and it's in Ephesians 4, verse 4 through 7. We are all parts of one body. We have the same spirit, and we have all been called to the same glorious future. For us there is only one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and we all have the same God and Father who is over us all and in us all, living through every part of us. However, Christ has given each of us special abilities, whatever he wants us to have out of his rich storehouse of gifts. I shared that with you, and you said, oh, do you remember this? And you said, this is what I was reading. And it's from Romans 12 on August 9th of 1989. It's from Romans 12, verse 3 through 5. As God's messenger, I give each of you God's warning. Be honest in your estimate of yourselves, measuring your value by how much faith God has given you. Just as there are many parts to our bodies, so it is with Christ's body. We are all parts of it, and it takes every one of us to make it complete. For we each have different work to do, so we belong to each other, and each needs all the others. And I thought, oh.
Things like that happened to all the staff members. It was just something that happened.
One of those things.
And that's been part of camp ever since. And we know that you have to include that piece, that scriptural piece, or it doesn't work. What is Celebrate Me Week? It has evolved into, when Will Catrice challenged us to make this heaven on earth, that truly was kind of a turning point, because it became what the staff could see, much bigger than us, much better than anything we could, and it really truly did become
and continues to
heaven on earth for that week for staff as well as campers. Even though formally camp, maybe it'll always be 3 weeks, or maybe it'll go 4 weeks, or maybe there will be a Celebrate Me Week Colorado, which I do see some of these people taking this and creating another piece of it farther away. The real growth in Celebrate Me Week comes from the change it's had in the staff and how they have taken that and included it in their life and in their careers and their life work and their dreams and their missions, and the changes or the differences it has made in their life choices.
And I think we touch on that when we do that goodbye talk before they go out to do the circle, when we say CMW does not end.
That's right.
You carry it with you.
Our week is over. But camp goes on forever.
Right.
In what you've learned and who who you've become and the friends you have made. Yeah, I think you're right.
Influence.
So it's the carrying forward within each individual, and I'm excited because every year when we do the song "Thank You" on Tuesday night before we go out to do the campfire, I bawl because the line in there, the verse that talks about one by one they came far as the eye could see. To me, that is our staff. And I just see this long line of staff and long line of campers, far as the eye can see. And so, humanly, I would limit to try to define how far will it go. I think that, into eternity. It will go into eternity.